Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. And today we're going to look at Satan's greatest defeat. Sometimes when we're reading the Bible, we come across a verse in the Bible, we just skim over it. It seems to be just giving us details or some simple basic information. But if we stop and we think about it for a little while, we start to see it in a different light. And we get a revelation from God that it's a really incredible verse with a big backstory behind it and an incredible message for you and for me. The same thing happens in our lives. We do something, maybe we do it daily, and we consider it just an ordinary thing that we do. But if we stop once in a while and think, the Holy Spirit gives us a revelation of what we are doing has a deeper significance and meaning. Let me tell you what I mean. There's a famine. People are starving in the province of Judea. People are in need of food. In Antioch, which is a different province, where Paul is and other teachers and prophets are, the church is multiplying and growing. So they decide to have a collection. They collect some money and they're going to send it to the people, the believers, the followers of Jesus who are in Judea starving. So listen to Acts 11:29 through 30. The disciples, as each one was able, decided to provide help for the brothers and sisters living in Judea. This they did, sending their gift to the elders by Barnabas and Saul. At first glance, we would say, that's very nice what they're doing. It's great. It shows generosity. It shows the true heart of God, caring for those in need, helping fellow brothers and sisters. And that's all true. But let's stop and think for a moment. They collect the money and then they send it. Now the church had to send it. The church in Antioch had to send it by trustworthy people. So who do they choose? Saul, or Paul, and Barnabas. Saul and Barnabas. Barnabas, I understand. Remember in the beginning of the book of Acts, he sold some property and gave the money for the poor. Perfect example. But Paul, Saul, stop and think of who Saul and Paul was, past tense. This is the guy who was dedicated to destroying the church. This is the guy who approved the stoning and killing of Stephen. This is the guy who was arresting people and dragging them off to jail. Now, a few years later, the church, who he was trying to destroy, is entrusting him with money to help the church in Judea. What a radical shift. What a radical change. So he has now the reputation of a respected leader of the church. Someone who's trying to destroy the church now has a reputation as a respected and trusted leader of the church. And in fact, prior to being given the money to take it to Judea, he'd been in Antioch teaching for a whole year, training multitudes and multitudes of new believers, training them to be followers, strong followers of Jesus, and building a powerful movement of God. He was used by God. What a radical change in Paul's life. And I believe that Paul was Satan's biggest defeat in a human person. So what are the applications? First application I take for our lives is when God is going to use someone, Satan often goes all out in attacking them to prevent them from being used. Are you under great attack right now? Endure it, resist it. God is going to use it. Number 2, the time of your greatest usefulness will be preceded by your greatest trial. Let me say that again. The time of your greatest usefulness to God will be preceded by your greatest trial. It's true in my life. It's true in Paul's life. Number 3, the greater the trial, the greater your usefulness. How many of you want to be used by God in a great way? Have to endure great trials. Number 4, your trial and victory is exactly what qualifies you to do what God calls you to do. You want to have authority? You want to be qualified to be a minister of God? The trial and the victory over the trial is what qualifies you to do that. So, my friends, as we go into the weekend, take some time this weekend to stop and think of the things that you now just consider normal in your life. Maybe like praying, maybe like helping others, maybe like teaching children, maybe like telling someone about Jesus, or even going to church, ministering in the church. Pause and think of your backstory and be encouraged at what God has done. He's qualified you. God bless you and have a great, great weekend.